Mummy, I want to go home. You are home, son. Truly you are.
So I'll tell you a mummy story that happened around the year 2000. I was going to a bush doof, a place where great big teepees would have been, and I did many of them. I was a guest artist. I used to do sculptures in the forest and little ruins, VIP sections, just using the natural environment and adding my sculptures as well. Anyway, I was due to go to this one, and I was going dressed as a mummy, and I also made a mummy as well. That was the point. I wanted to finally have a full-sized wrapped mummy that was authentic looking. So I made this over a week or two, and I started off with a pair of overalls and stuffed them full so that they were fairly rigid. And well, I thought, well, what am I going to do here? I don't have any hands, so I got a friend to submit their hands. I didn't chop them off, but I molded them and filled the mold with latex, so they came out as rubbery hands, and some of the hair on his hand stuck to it, so it was quite authentic. And you touch it, it's like jelly. And yeah, I sewed them onto the arms of the mummy and crossed them over and made a face and a head with the same sort of material, so that it was quite scabby looking and a bit flaky and just horrible. So like a mummy head. It was very aged. Anyway, then it was time for me to become a mummy when I was ready to go to this thing. So I bought more bandages. It must have been hundreds of meters, and it took about an hour and a half to be wrapped. I was wrapped alive, every finger, every bit, and they weren't just plain old bandages. I aged them first, so I looked authentically dead, but I had good shoes on too, so that it was kind of a really good look. And the thing was, it was in the city. I had to go and rendezvous to get a ride with the person who was going up there. So I caught a train with my mummy, and I sat there at the back, as I always would in a bus or anything like that, and with Michael, my mummy. That's what I called it, Michael. And yeah, it wasn't the average journey. I didn't have to pay a ticket for him either, which was great. I asked, do I need to buy him a ticket? He's not real. It was great. But when I got to the other platform, oh God, what a drama. I remember walking up this ramp with it, carrying the mummy in my hands like a legless person. Well, it had legs. They were sort of tied together in the mummiform pose, but he still flopped around. And it was dark, and I get up the ramp, and there's a cemetery opposite, a major cemetery, and I'm just going, oh, this is great. I had to get a cab to get to the pub where I was meeting someone to go to this party. I thought that'd be easy enough, but I didn't think it through, because when I got to the road, and there was a main road, and there were plenty of cabs going by, I'm waving, hey, oh, oh. No one would stop. None of them would stop. I think about a dozen came by, and they weren't stopping. I had Michael, trying to prop Michael, my mummy, up. I'm there in the dark, dressed like that, hitchhiking. Yeah, bandages were sort of coming loose, blowing in the breeze and the cemetery in the background, and no cab would stop. They just wouldn't. I'm just there in the headlights, and no, I'm not picking you up. So fair enough. The living dead. Finally, somebody in a 4-wheel drive, a group of guys, thankfully stopped, and they were hysterical. They said, "What the hell are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to get a cab, no one will pick me up." So they couldn't believe what they were seeing next to the cemetery as a backdrop. And so they took pity on me and got myself in there, and they put Michael, the mummy, in the back. And they took me to the pub, and I met up with my friend, and we were destined to go to the party. But we didn't, because she locked the keys in the car, and I wasn't going anywhere that night. No one would come and get the car open. There was just no one available. So I had to stay there for hours and hours and hours, and people on the buses going by, I remember that, just looking at us. It's me and Michael, the mummy, was lying flat on the ground, looked like another dead person, and it was chaos. It was chaos. So we just decided to make a video, and that video I must find. It's on the old tape, so I'll have to find it and see if I can convert it so you can have a look and see what I was looking like. It was not just white bandages, they were soaked and aged, so it was looking realistic. I think I rolled around in the dirt as well to give it a little bit of extra authenticity. It's just a normal Saturday night. What was then? Yeah, it was cursed.
Mummy, I want to go